I want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to my sponsor, P2 Collectibles, located at 204 East McGalley Road in Muncie and on eBay as well. So next time you're here in Muncie, let us know. Come give us a visit.
Hey, what is up, y'all? This is Alex from Plus3 TCG. Today we're going to be talking about cards that should never come back off of the ban list or the Forbidden Limited list, whichever you would like to call it. I prefer ban list. But these are cards that have affected the game in such a negative way that they were deemed too strong and were therefore put on the ban list. And in this case, these ones should probably stay banned for the rest of Yu-Gi-Oh's existence. The first one we're going to have to jump right into is Firewall Dragon. This is probably the most notorious of recent Yu-Gi-Oh! It enabled so many FTKs, too much link spam, all the extra link decks. They were all enabled by Firewall Dragon. I don't think we need too much explanation. Firewall Dragon, see you later. Hopefully you never come back until you have different text. As your card text is read right now, gotta stay banned, never to come back again. The next one we're going to be talking about is Magispector Unicorn Kirin. This effect is pretty nasty. Being able to float back to the hand by targeting itself or any other pendulum monster is really unbalanced, especially considering it can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Even Dank Daddy, back at 3, can't do anything to Kirin. They don't do anything to each other, but it still is a problem. We may have Fairytale Luna, which is kind of the great value brand of Kirin, you know what I'm saying? But it still needs to be normal summon and it can't be negated by its own effect. It's a much more fair version of Kirin, and you can only imagine how broken Kirin would be now that Electromite is a thing. You know what I'm saying? Just forget sending Chronograph or any of the other extenders. You just need to send Kirin, pen summon that, and boom, already you have a one-card interruption, and I think that is very powerful and enough reason for this card to never, ever come back to Yu-Gi-Oh! So many Pendulum decks can abuse this deck. If you can make Electromite, essentially if you're going to make Electromite before your Pendulum summon and you have full scales, you essentially have a one-card interruption right there. You don't have to put up any other negates. Just put up your Kirin and stack on top of that. Obviously you don't just want to leave the Kirin, but anyways, we don't have to worry about that because this card is hopefully never ever coming back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Now this next one had a very big impact, not so recently but in the last couple years. Vanity's Emptiness. Glad to see this card go, and I hope it never comes back because it was a game ender. If you didn't have an out to this, even when it was at 1, you almost definitely lost that game because the decks that could utilize this very well were usually winning because of this. All you had to do was draw into this, and especially now that we have ways to send Vanity's Emptiness from the deck into the grave and then set it back with Nightmare Griffin, this card can especially never ever come back, because in a game that essentially forces you to rely on special summoning, not being able to special summon makes winning pretty difficult. There are decks that can do it. There are stun decks that are made around not special summoning and setting lots of floodgates, and that is just another reason why this card cannot come back. It does enable those kind of strategies which arguably aren't incredibly powerful, but for the decks that can utilize it very well, like some of the tier 1 meta decks, this would be a game ender. I know we have Vanity's Fiend and Vanity's Ruler, I guess they do the same thing, but they're tribute monsters and they can't be activated on my opponent's turn in the response to a fusion summon or something like that, for the most part, unless like they're playing Escalation or something like that to where they can summon a Vanity's Fiend on my turn. But all in all, those cards are pretty fair. Vanity's Emptiness, not so much. Even though when a card leaves the field, it gets destroyed, that can be in your opponent's favor, and this is just a card that can arguably not come back. There would have to be quite the shift in the ban list before this card could come back. Unlike the next card though, Tellarknight Ptolemaeus. Maybe I'm saying that right, maybe I'm not. Regardless, this card should probably never ever come back because it allowed you to access the extra deck way too much and have way too much rank 4 and rank 5 toolbox, because the decks we were playing it in arguably were rank 4 toolbox decks, or just any deck that could make rank 4s very easily. And being able to summon out a Constellar Pleiades on my opponent's turn is a bit too strong, let alone any non-number rank 5. Let's not forget about the crazy plays with Cyber Dragon Infinity as well. In any deck that can make rank 4s, you could just make this, put a Teller Knight under it at the end phase, and then go into a Nova, and then Infinity next turn if it survived. Or you just make it with the 3, and then you have more materials for the Infinity. Pretty much just too much accessibility to the extra deck is why this card can never come back. And I'm happy about that, because there were way too many times where you can make Pleiades on your opponent's turn, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And that brings us to the next rank 4, Lavalval Chain. This card can never come back. Too dynamic of an effect. Way too many cards you have access to. I was just talking about being able to send Vanity's Emptiness to the grave, let alone any really good Floodgate. But if this were back and Vanity's Emptiness were back, oh my goodness. With Griffin, that's way too broken. Being able to send any card from your deck to the grave gives way too much advantage to any deck that can abuse the graveyard. Some of the best decks ever abuse the grave, and giving them more access to the grave was too much. And that's part of the reason why Lavalval Chain had to go. And being able to stack any monster you need is also kind of baloney, but not as much as sending any card from deck to grave. I mean, Foolish Burial is at 1 for a reason, and this card's a lot easier to get to than Foolish Burial. You have to hard draw Foolish Burial. Lavalval Chain, you just make it with 2 level 4s, and boom, access to whatever you need. It's just way too much for the game. I think all of these cards are way too much for the game, and I'm very glad that they were banned. And I think they should stay banned for the reasons mentioned. If you think differently and you think some of these cards can come back, please make a solid argument down in the comment section below. Y'all know I love to talk to y'all down in the comment section. So make sure, if you agree, if you disagree, let me know down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And this is Alex from +3 TCG. Signing out, y'all.